This is the Giraffes Don't Eat Steak podcast, a show that brings you marketing stories, tips, hints, and much more. A treat for those who want to succeed in business or marketers who just want to learn. Hi, Alex.
Hello, how are you doing?
I am good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well.
How's your weather?
Cloudy, actually. It's been quite nice because it's a nice break to have a bit of cloud and a bit of rain to make it cooler. So weirdly, I've the joy when I'm in the UK and when it's sunny, I'm having that same joy here, but when it's cloudy.
I was just thinking about it because actually the there's no clouds, but it means it's gone cold.
Mm.
So
You
when
mean
you're out,
in the night?
no, even in the daytime, it's cold. It's seems like it was warmer when there were clouds, like it traps the heat in a little bit.
Yeah, well, especially at night, it gets cool. It's warmer at night when there's clouds.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway,
and, yeah.
so I almost missed the clouds, but because it was warmer, if that makes sense. Like,
Well, what's the temperature there now?
it is 12 degrees.
That's nice. That's no, that
Yeah,
sounds
but last week it was 15.
yeah.
You know, when you get to 12, it's a little bit cold. Anyway,
But has it
so
been raining? Has it been having the typical April showers, or have you?
no, we haven't had. We had so Monday was a downpour. So we had one day of rain, and the rest it hasn't, which has been nice, giving the ground a chance to dry up. Had some nice dog walks. So
And the dogs are okay to walk outside now. They're not scared.
yeah, no, they're good. Millie actually had a hernia operation, so she's got stitches. So she's
Oh,
here with me. She's not walking anywhere. She wants to be carried
yeah.
everywhere. She's crying. So and poor Arthur's so confused because he wants to play, and she's like, "No, stay away from me." So so the side is a little bit of a waste because we can't use it yet. We're gonna wait for her to heal.
Oh, shame. Poor dog.
Poor dog. So here's something that I was up against this week is contests. Um, so a friend of mine is launching a new business and was thinking of launching the business with a competition. And we see them on Instagram like quite often, right? Like the like and share and tell five friends or that kind of stuff. And you go into a lucky draw, those kind of
Yeah, I know exactly what you
competitions.
mean. Yeah.
So you get those ones. So there's lots on social media, and then the formal competitions we used to run, right? Like enter here, and there's an absolute draw, and the winner will be informed, and you have to do formal terms and conditions and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on contests, Alex?
Um, well, again, I think they all need to be appropriate to your audience,
Yeah.
which is just the key thing to do. I've seen a few contests where um, I think when they're way too obvious, when they're way too obvious in terms of in terms of trying to create engagement by just giving something without much connection or story behind it or something, it more often than not they do fail. There needs to be some kind of connection with the brand and some kind of purpose, I think, rather than just saying, okay, look, here's a free iPad. If you might be put into you'll be put into a draw and you might win an iPad if you leave us your details. It's too blatant, too obvious, and there needs to be a bit more thought around it. And I think those ones that have a bit more thought and are more connected with the brand and more connected with the journey that your users are going through, rather than just, as I said, like a cold, very old school that will put your name into a draw to win this. without any context or connection.
Yeah.
Do certainly have their place, especially with well, I'm not really sure if you call this a contest, but even limited time offer discounts, the kind of sits into a different category. But the point I'm making is that they're already engaging with an offer to a product that people are already associated with, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, so I think for me, contests, there's parts to a contest that all need to be appropriate to the audience, right? Which is kind of our thing. What's appropriate to your audience? So if you start with the prize, and I'm like you, I like connection. The prize must have some connection with the business. So, some link to what your service offering is. Yes, you can do a M&S gift voucher, or you can do those kind of, but I'm not a fan of those disjointed prizes unless your service is supporting families in financial crisis. So then, an M&S food voucher kind of connects the dots with that, right? Because you're winning money towards food, and our services are supporting you in with financial help, that kind of stuff. So I like connect the dot prizes, and then a prize that your target audience would actually want, right? So for me, win an hour of my time sounds great to me, but does the target audience actually want an hour of my time? If
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's true. And it's like a shoe company, for example, if they had a limited shoe design, and the contest um, is to give the shoe a new brand name, for example, a new name for it. Everyone in the comments put the brand name for this shoe, for this particular shoe. If you're selected, you get a free pair of shoes or something like that.
Yeah,
I feel
that's nicely
it has a
connected.
kind of connection. It's
That's
engaged with the brand. It's making them feel part of the journey of this shoe with the brand that
yes.
they're associated with, and they might win.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. I think you and I both like that kind of connect the dots. It all stacks up together. So that's the prize. So think about the prize, make sure it's valuable. The second part is then the is then the audience of who is going to enter your prize. Because in your first example, where you said, click and like and go into the draw for the iPad, the person who wants the iPad, how do you even know they're the person who's going to buy your services? So the
Right.
person who wants the prize has to also be the person that will buy your services, or else you're just getting a list that's useless, right? If children,
Yeah,
for example,
exactly.
love an iPad, so they all go in and like and comment, you get a whole lot of children, but none of them will ever use my marketing services. It's a
No,
it's a really massive disconnect, right?
yeah,
So who you attract by your price is also an
exactly.
important factor.
Because you can imagine, like, if you did it for an insurance company, let's say, um, for the insurance policy, you have to be over 18, whatever insurance it is.
Yeah.
But you get a load of 16-year-olds just putting in fake details because they've seen the link or their friends saw it, then they started sharing it around and blah, 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 and everyone's just putting in fake dates and things like that into the lead details, maybe just putting in their parents' details. There's just nothing qualified about that lead whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, fake entrance is a different scenario. I think real entrance, but who will never buy from you,
Mm.
is also a real scenario, right? I mean, the fake entrance one, that's I hadn't thought about that before. I suppose it is possible. Someone's in a mood, they've got some spare time on their hands. They
Yeah.
wanna, I don't know what they would get out of it, but I suppose that is possible.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, if it, like also you have those quite annoying. It's like the get discounts or get free vouchers, get free whatever it is if you answer these random questions from these random businesses, almost like a
Oh yeah.
survey thing. Those crop up quite often, and I imagine there's a lot of fake details going into those.
Yeah, no, I agree with
Just
that.
because they want to get access to that.
They just want the prize, right? They'll
Yeah,
do whatever to get the prize.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
No.
But yeah, it's all about just being, for me anyway, I think the optimal is to be part of, put them in the journey of your brand. So if you have a new product launch, take them along the journey with them, with you as a, how can you get their input into it? How can you make them feel like they're investing in the new design or new product or something like that, even if it's coming. And it's like I said with the shoe one,
Yeah.
give it a name. Any kind of active participation in the product journey or brand that people already value will create additional connection between the audience and the brand. And
Yeah.
I think in that scenario, it's almost like a win-win. Like you're getting more engagement, you're creating shareable content, and also your audience feels valued because you're asking them for their opinion, which everybody loves. If you get ask your opinion, it's like, oh, maybe they actually care about what I think and feel.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Then the third aspect I think that's important is where are you going to promote the contest?
Mm,
And this was interesting. So if you want to do the LinkedIn like and share and stuff, you kind of have to have a following. If
yeah,
you've got a LinkedIn account with, 50 people, it's probably not the best place to launch a
yeah,
contest because you're going to have those 50 people who probably then are already on your mailing list. How do you get new people? Because that's surely the purpose is new people. I mean, there's a contest to reward your existing, different contest, right? But a contest to generate new business, new leads, new direction. That's, I think, the where becomes important. Do you promote it? LinkedIn, we had a discussion on LinkedIn. I don't know if I've seen contests on LinkedIn. Have you ever seen a contest on LinkedIn? I've seen the polls,
I've seen lots of polls. Yeah,
but I haven't seen win a prize kind of stuff on LinkedIn. And maybe I'm just missing it, but it made me think like the way and how if you've got an email list, do you push it out to them in your newsletter? But again, you're then getting to the same people, unless it's the send to five of your friends or refer five of your friends, and
mhm.
then you get entered. Okay, that's a mechanism. But the way you promote contests is also a tricky one, right? You need to really think about it
Yeah,
because
and how you're doing it as well, because I feel like if you're on doing it on Facebook, for example, and you don't have a big following, but you're getting a lot of impressions because you have put it through some paid content,
mm,
um, you may not be getting the type of engagement that you want necessarily because you're offering something that's not actually part of your brand and part of your product. And again, it might be attracting the wrong people or
mm,
delivering the wrong message about your brand, if that makes sense. And as we know, the majority of good content and content that drives engagement is something that's a lot more organic rather than something that's forced. If it's it's an advert, B, it's a contest, which in some ways can look a bit tricky, a bit scammy. So I think you have to be very careful with that.
I'm getting a feeling you're not a fan of contests. Your language is quite negative towards contests. I'm
No,
fascinated.
my feelings toward contest is that it has to be for me, organic and built within the journey that your brand and customers are going through, rather than trying to acquire business through offering an additional product that may not be part of your brand. So like an iPad, for example, I've, I'm not a fan of that type of user engagement and audience building. I don't feel like it brings the right type of people and the right type of engagement to your brand necessarily.
Yeah, so I think now we're starting to nuance our disagreement because I think it depends where in the funnel your brand is positioned. I mean, this contest is being positioned. If it's a lead gen purpose, right? So it's what's your measurement criteria of success? If it's lead gen, and I think I have shared that at an exhibition, I had a contest which was crack the safe, right? Guess the 5-digit code, and you could win 50,000. So the money had nothing to do with the brand. So the prize wasn't directly linked, like there wasn't that connection,
Mm.
but it was a targeted audience, everyone at this exhibit, and the purpose was to get people to the stand so we could get their details. So from that purpose, it worked, right? It worked. People, the draw was £50,000 is attractive enough to bring people of the 400 stands in the place. Why would people choose our stand? So it was a strong enough one. We knew all the attendees were our target audience, so that was fine. And it worked. They came to the stand, they tried to guess the code, we got their details. Like, so from a lead gen perspective, which is top of the funnel, it worked, right? Um, and it wasn't connected, right? Like with the brand and the 50,000, like there was no connection. But maybe deeper in the funnel, if you're doing referral campaigns, for example, so if your contest is for your existing customers to refer business, maybe then it does need to connect a little bit more. So I think for me, it depends on where in the funnel you're and then what your channel of communicating the contest. How are you getting that message out? I think that depends on how related it needs to be.
Yeah, I mean that example is different with the offering the cash in the exhibition, because you're already in the realm of your audience, and your audience are already there expecting to look for new opportunities, new ideas, be open for business, right?
Yeah,
In that position.
absolutely.
Yeah. But I feel like some of contests across maybe social medias, you're targeting people who may fit into your demographic, but you're not necessarily targeting people who are in the market for this type of thing and are already engaging with similar brands at that time in a specific venue. There's a lot more cold.
No, exactly. But then you could put them into a nurturing funnel, right? Because not now doesn't mean never. So that could, depends on what you're going to do with them. If you're going to call all of them and try and sell, I would agree that's not probably not good. I would put in some sort of filter then, maybe a little, welcome to the newsletter. If subscribe is what you want, right? So if what's happening is they subscribing and then they go into a nurture funnel. So I don't think it's a black and white answer is all I'm saying. I think
No,
there's
I mean
so
it
many
really depends.
nuances
Yeah, and it
to
depends
get it
on
right.
yeah, and the key is what are you offering?
I think the key is what do you want to achieve?
Interesting. But I think
I,
that it needs to be a combination of them. If you need to have the connection between what you're offering, who you're offering it to, and why you're offering it. Like, what is the connection between the story, the brand, and the person?
See, I don't. So when you say what you're offering, do you mean your service or do you mean the prize?
No, I mean the price.
So I think the prize, like in my exhibit example, there's no relation, right? Because I started with what do I want to achieve, and then what is the context? So in this case, I had an exhibit. I knew who was there. I knew they were what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to achieve. Therefore, I could come up with any price. I could have done a Porsche. I could have done any price, right? Like, but it had to be big, and it wouldn't have worked if I'd given a book, probably, because it wouldn't have been big enough, wow enough to make people choose me over 400. So,
Mm.
so that's the context of the what am I offering in relation to what am I trying to achieve? Whereas in social media, again, what do I want to achieve? If it's subscribers, if it's sales, very different contest. If it's filling up my nurture funnel, different contest. If it's referrals, different. If it's so it all for me starts with what do I want to achieve? And then
Mm.
what I'm gonna offer and how it relates. All of that is a package. So I think we're saying
Yeah.
the same things but differently,
Yeah,
which
no,
is
that makes
normal.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I think really, it just really needs to be those aspects all need to be thought through. It's not just,
Yeah,
I want more leads.
absolutely.
Let's just offer whatever, mm, an Alexa.
No,
Uh,
we're agreeing on that point. And then
all
the
of
other,
those stuff.
then just finally, and something people often forget is you do need to just help people. How do they know you're not picking your mate for the prize? What are your, so just the simple terms and conditions, who can enter? Are there age limits? What's the conditions of the prize? You know, do people
Mm.
get it straight away? Will it be posted? Do they have to come collect it in person? Is there any validation you will do for this cash prize that I was doing? You would have to go do a polygraph to make sure you didn't scam or have a friend on the inside to give you the code, all that kind of stuff before you could get the money. And then, make sure the draw, however you can do it, is public and fair, so that people can see I didn't choose my mate. I
Yeah,
didn't just give it to my best friend or my sister's husband or whatever it is. That because people have a natural distrust, and maybe it's us South Africans that have more of a distrust than other people, but people like to know that it's clean and clear and fair, right?
yeah,
And they have a real chance of winning.
yeah, that's true. I think I've
Any,
also got a bit of a personal bias against the contest,
I
as
feel
in
like you have there's something
my,
there. You're not
yeah,
as
personally, when I see a contest which hasn't engaged me fully, maybe it's because I've seen a lot of contests that haven't been thought through properly.
maybe
Um, when I don't feel like I can't see the reason for it other than just to get my details. Do you know what I mean? Like that, you failed. I feel you need to have. I
they
need to be
failed for
involved.
you. Maybe you're not their target audience.
True, but there needs
Uh,
to be. You need to feel the value that you're not just. If it's just giving my details I value my details, I guess. So the prize needs to have some worth to me for in a I don't know longevity for giving my details than they're going to have for a long time.
Yeah. So obviously, whoever's been pitching you prizes, you're not their target audience. They haven't understood you properly.
They haven't understood me.
They
Maybe
haven't
I'm a
understood
target
you.
audience, but they haven't understood me, or they haven't
So
understood the audience.
whoever is sending Alex contests, please contact us. We can help you get it right with fully understanding your target audience because you're obviously not getting it right now.
No, exactly. But if they again similar to the shoe one, if they offered me if like my local hamburger place
Yes,
was
food will work with
designing
Alex. Alex loves food.
if they're designing a new hamburger and they've created a new hamburger, they want a name for it, or they want um some enter a design or something like that to win 2 months worth of free burgers.
You see,
I'm in.
that wouldn't work for me. but it would definitely work for you. I can't think of anything worse than 2 months worth of free burgers.
Well, don't turn it down if you are offered it,
No,
because
no,
I
you know I'll
will.
pass it your way, buddy.
I'll
You've got it.
support you.
Brilliant. Okay. In summary, I'm not sure we cracked this contest one on this, but we definitely had some interesting food for thought and debates. Maybe we should shop around for some good ones, and it'll steer us a little bit more.
Yeah, but
But
I feel like that we do have some consistent answers,
yes,
and
we do, we do.
who is your audience? Make sure you know your audience. What are you doing it for? What's the purpose? What's your outcome? Is your messaging and the prize and process of them doing it, does that align with your outcome and the platform that you're using, the media that you're using to distribute that campaign? There needs to be thought for that. All of the dots need to be connected. If you have something part of that project that you're doing just seems a little bit disconnected, it's probably not ready to go.
No,
They all need to be aligned up.
no, absolutely spot on. As always, it's been fun, Alex.
Indeed. And see you next time.
See you next time.
That wraps up this episode of Giraffes Don't Eat Steak. Thanks for joining us. I hope you found value in our discussion and got some new ideas to apply to your own business. Tune in next week for another round of marketing insights and inspiration. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We appreciate you listening. Catch you next time on Giraffes Don't Eat Steak.